Just a few moments ago, something believed to be a plane crashed into the south tower of the World Trade Center. I just saw flames inside. You can see the smoke coming out of the tower. We have no idea what it was. It was a tremendous boom.
Our first class galley flight attendant and our purser is we can't get the cockpit. The door won't open.
What is your name?
Okay, my name is Betty Ong. I'm number 3 on flight 11. Flight, you're the number 3 on the flight? Yes. And this is flight 11? Somewhere to where? Somebody's calling medical, and we can't get a stop. What's going on, Betty? Betty, talk to me. Betty, are you there? Wait, I think we might have lost her.
Oh my gosh, another plane has just hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it.
What's this other jet doing? Holy fuck!
Did you ever wonder why we had to run for shelter when the promise of
United 93, verify 1135, go. United 93, Cleveland. United 93, Cleveland. United 1523, did you hear your company, did you hear some interference on the frequency here a couple minutes ago, screening?
Yes, I did, 797, and we couldn't tell what it was either.
400 firefighters who reached the scene of the World Trade Center attack today. As many as half may be dead. That estimate is coming from a vice president within the New York State Firefighters Union. He says that entire companies are missing at this point.
Freedom and high land. The other tower just collapsed. Major collapse.
I've been standing about 50 yards away from the west side of the Pentagon, which is where this explosion occurred. Portions of that part of the building have now collapsed. There are perhaps a dozen fire trucks on the scene trying to fight the fire, and they are rigging the ground around the Pentagon for handling mass casualties.
You ready? Okay. Let's roll.
Hello, everyone, and I want to thank my good friend Edward Daly for putting together that tribute in remembrance to 9/11. And I want to welcome all of you to Chimpsy's All-American 53. Yeah. September 11th, 2001. I'll never forget that day. Everybody remembers where they were at. Unless you're Michael Moore, then you can only remember where George Bush was at, that he was reading to kids. But if Michael Moore was completely honest, he'd tell us what he was doing on 9/11. Most likely, he was eating an extra-large Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza with extra cheese. But I digress. I was working at this plant. At the time, a bunch of people there from many diverse cultures and political opinions. But over the radio, we started hearing how a plane hit the World Trade Center, the North Tower. Well, we didn't think anything of it. We thought it was a small plane. At that time, we didn't know it was American Airlines Flight 11. Then later, we heard that United Airlines Flight 175 hit the South Tower. And by the time American Airlines Flight 77 hit the Pentagon, we were all gathered around the radio. About 50 of us. I was the first one who said, "We're under attack. America's under attack." And there was no debate. We all knew it. And we were all terrified for this nation. My heart sank when the South Tower came down. And then to hear that the North World Trade Center building collapsed. At the time, we didn't understand what happened with United Airlines Flight 93. We just heard it had crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. At that time, we did not know about the heroism of the great Americans on board. Americans who were determined if they were going to go down, they were not going to go down without a fight. And folks, this has always been an inspiration for me. It always has. It always has. When I hear people, and I've criticized conservatives for giving up and whining and quitting about little stuff. Oh, did you hear what that liberal said about me? You heard what this person said about me? I don't know if I can take it. I don't know if I can do it. Well, thank God there was Americans on Flight 93. They didn't have quit in them, even at the most perilous time in their life. Thank God, firefighters, police officers were willing to risk their lives to save others. And they did risk their lives. But it's 7 years later. Do we really still care? Does it mean anything to us at all anymore? A while back I made a video. I asked, was Osama bin Laden right? He didn't believe Americans had the heart to stay in the fight. Well, I still have to ask the question, was Osama bin Laden right? Have we forgotten? Even back on Chimpsy's Real America #1, my very first show, one of the things I pointed out about liberals is they have to undermine the war on terror. They have to. Because they know their party is weak on national security. So they must undermine the war on terror. Because as long as fighting the war on terror is the #1 priority in America, nobody would give a damn about a liberal fighting for their gay rights. Which really means fighting to indoctrinate your children with the gay agenda. If the war on terror was the #1 issue of our time, who would give a flying back crap if you got your welfare check in the mail this month? I love Barack Obama going around, oh, they didn't talk about issues, they didn't talk about schools and public schools and how to reform the schools. Like you're interested in reforming the schools? It's already a socialist indoctrination camp. How much more reform can you do, Barack Obama? It's already on your side. The teachers' unions. You got all the little kids all scared about global warming. But God forbid you tell them about the realities of Islamic terrorism. God forbid! You tell them about the real fears they should be having. They didn't talk about how to fix health care, and they're going to keep the Bush tax cuts. Yeah? First of all, you're going to fuck up health care like you did the public schools. #1. #2, you guys over there at the DNC didn't even talk about Islamic terrorism. Oh, God forbid you mention Islamic terrorism. God forbid. Because your #1 enemy is the 3rd term of George W. Bush. That's your enemy. Your own president is your enemy. Your own country is your enemy. Well, D.C. isn't a little rough. Didn't 9/11 happen to all of us? Didn't matter what your politics were? Yeah, that's right. It happened to all of us, but these people are too stupid to realize it. And I'm just talking